Ryan had a question in the chat about like what works to get kids to eat healthier foods. And like, I wish I knew. I have two young kids and like they're upstairs eating like pasta with butter and Parmesan cheese for like the fourth night in a row. I think that obviously like a necessary but not sufficient first step to getting kids to eat healthy food is making healthy food available, which means both making it accessible and affordable. And so that's without that, you don't have a prayer, right? So like I offer my children healthy food. Like there's also a plate of cauliflower up there. Like, will it be untouched when I go upstairs? Probably. But you have to, that's expensive, right? So like this is also like a no-duh kind of area, but it's one that is worth mentioning and worth documenting, which is healthier food costs more. And if you're a low income household on a tight budget, like you're going to want to get the most bang for your bucks that you're putting towards food. And are you going to go to the McDonald's drive through, which I just went to on a drive with my kids and realized that I could get like hamburgers, French fries, and milkshakes for everyone for the amount of money I would also spend on like one head of broccoli and one head of cauliflower, which they may not touch and I may end up throwing it away. So if I have a limited budget, am I going to spend my money on food that my kids may or may not eat that's really expensive? Or the food that's definitely going to go into their stomachs, they're going to sleep better that night. And yeah, it's not very good for them. So I don't know, Ryan, it's such a tough question.
I just a small follow-up on that. I feel like it's kind of similar to like the Dollar General versus Costco problem where, I watch students, I said I work in New York City, specifically in Harlem, who come to school every day with a black bag of probably $5 to $6 worth of stuff from the local corner store. We call them bodegas. Bacon, egg, and cheese, a drink, a chips, and some type of candy, and usually a breakfast. And I don't think that my lunch, what I bring, which is usually leftovers, costs $6 a serving. That would just be my guess. And so because I buy it sometimes in bulk from Costco, foods, but also just from the grocery store, and I plan things out, and that one head of broccoli that might cost like $2 or whatever, $3 is then used over 2 or 3 meals. And I just feel like there is that's what's so frustrating to me, is that I'm watching students spend so much money a week, their parents' money ultimately, at bodegas on lunch. While yes, we have a free lunch program. Every single student at our school is free and reduced lunch. And I just, that to me is where there's this disconnect of like, because obviously the foods they're eating, the bodega, bacon, egg, and cheese, is horrible for you. But also just expensive. Like it isn't ultimately always cheaper. They're spending a lot of money on convenience, just like if someone does it at Dollar General, in a place where Dollar General takes advantage of not the best stuff, but takes advantage of lack of other stores. Whereas if they could go to Costco, yes, there's more of an upfront cost for 20 things of toilet paper, but ultimately it's cheaper per head. I don't know if I'm making sense, but that's
you're totally making sense. I mean, I just want to say I lived in New York for 12 years, and like I love a good bodega bacon, egg, and cheese, and I know it's not that healthy, but like there is an actual
Friday
egg
night
in there.
or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but not every single day.
Yes, no, clearly not. And you're right, that is expensive. And so this idea that it's also expensive to go to McDonald's drive-through multiple times a week. Like that's more expensive than making your own food and making a double batch and saving it. What's the trade-off? I mean, there's time costs, right, for parents. And so one of the things we learned to get to the data is from the study in Pennsylvania where we text message families. So that's a backpack food program. And I can't remember if it was Kate. I was looking really quickly at the chat. It was Kate who said, increase in unhealthy food, working at the distribution center that you worked at. So the backpack food program in Pennsylvania that we're looking at is a program that they call themselves informally, not to the families who receive it, Blue Apron for low income households. So it's fresh, unprocessed food with a recipe card that comes with it. And the recipe card has items that sum to no more than $7. So the idea is the family could recreate the recipe if they like it and stay within a pretty limited budget, right? It's a really innovative program. This is why we're working with them. It's the only one of its kind that we know of in the country. And what they do is they send home bags of food every Thursday with the kids who have signed up for the program. It's called Power Packs. And the problem, so we text message families and we started by asking, like, do you like the food? Do you use the food? And what we found in that particular area is very race, ethnic diverse. There are a lot of Latinx families, but there are also a lot of families who are kosher. There are families from households that observe for religious reasons. They don't eat meat. So that makes it a little more challenging in terms of like getting the protein in there. There are households that for allergy and or like other dietary reasons don't consume dairy. So sending home like a big gallon of milk, which is innovative for a food program, is not going to work for some families. And then a lot of the families reported one of the barriers to cooking the food was they didn't have basic cooking implements. So they were lacking like a paring knife and a fry pan. And so if the recipe called for like sauteing something, they were like, no, I'm going to have to hack this and do this other thing with it. And a lot of the families, as many families are very resourceful and could still make use of the food in a way that was healthier than going to a drive-through. And they did say, Ryan, interestingly, in one of the questions we asked them, that they did make the food last over multiple meals. So you're right that like home cooking a meal, and it's a big grocery bag that goes home every Thursday, and it's scaled for the size of the family. So if there are more than 4 household members, they get 2 grocery bags automatically. If there are 4 household members, they get 1. So there's an opportunity to make the food stretch a little bit. I think there are just some really real barriers. Even if you cross the access and affordability barrier, the next one is, do they have the right tools? Does the food match their dietary needs, preferences, and cultural match?